Welcome to AlphaVerse. Let's begin. This video is highly recommended, especially before you start your day or go to sleep. Imagine walking into a room full of strangers and leaving with new friends, trusted colleagues, or even a life-changing opportunity. What if you could master the art of connecting with people, not through manipulation, but through genuine understanding and respect? That's the promise of Dale Carnegie's timeless classic, How to Win Friends and Influence People. First published in 1936, this book has sold millions of copies and transformed countless lives by offering practical, heartfelt advice on building meaningful relationships. Today, we're diving into its core lessons, exploring why they matter, and discovering how you can apply them to your own life. Whether you're navigating a career, strengthening friendships, or simply wanting to make a positive impact, this book holds wisdom that's as relevant now as it was nearly a century ago. Let's begin our journey. Our story starts with Dale Carnegie himself, a man who wasn't born a natural communicator. Growing up on a Missouri farm, he was shy and struggled to connect with others. But through years of teaching public speaking and studying human behavior, Carnegie uncovered principles that could unlock the power of relationships. His book isn't about tricks or shortcuts. It's about understanding what makes people tick and using that knowledge to create trust and mutual respect. As Carnegie once wrote, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you." This idea sets the stage for the book's first major lesson. The foundation of influence lies in genuine interest. Let's explore this through one of Carnegie's most memorable stories. He tells of a man named Charles Schwab, a steel magnate who became one of the most successful leaders of his time. Schwab wasn't a technical genius or a ruthless businessman, but he had a remarkable ability to inspire his workers. His secret? He showed sincere appreciation for their efforts. One day, Schwab visited a steel mill where production was lagging. Instead of scolding the workers, he picked up a piece of chalk and wrote a big number on the floor, the output of the day shift. When the night shift arrived, they saw the number, got curious, and worked harder to beat it. The next day, Schwab returned and wrote an even higher number for the night shift's output. Soon, the mill's productivity soared, all because Schwab tapped into a basic human need, the desire to feel valued. What does this story tell us? People respond powerfully when you show them they matter. This brings us to the first principle: don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Carnegie argues that criticism often backfires, making people defensive rather than open to change. Think about a time someone criticized you harshly. Did it make you want to improve, or did it make you resent them? Instead, Carnegie suggests focusing on appreciation and encouragement. He shares the example of a dog trainer who never punishes his animals. Instead, he rewards good behavior with treats and praise, and the dogs eagerly learn. Humans, Carnegie says, aren't so different. By focusing on what people do right, you create an environment where they're motivated to grow. Ask yourself, how often do you catch people doing something right, and how could that change your relationships? As we move deeper into the book, Carnegie introduces another key idea. To win people over, you must appeal to their interests. This isn't about flattery or manipulation. It's about seeing the world through their eyes. He tells the story of a businessman trying to secure a deal with a tough client. The businessman learned that the client loved collecting rare coins, so he spent hours researching the hobby. When they met, he didn't pitch his product right away. Instead, he asked thoughtful questions about the client's coin collection. The client lit up, talking for hours, and by the end of the meeting, he signed the deal. Not because of the product, but because he felt understood. Carnegie's point is clear. When you show genuine curiosity about what matters to someone, you build a bridge of trust. How could you apply this in your next conversation? Let's pause for a moment. These principles, showing appreciation, avoiding criticism, and appealing to others' interests, might sound simple, but they require practice. Carnegie emphasizes that relationships are built on small, consistent actions. He quotes the philosopher William James, who said, "The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated." This craving drives much of our behavior, yet how often do we overlook it? By making a habit of noticing and acknowledging others, you can transform even casual interactions into meaningful connections. Now, let's shift to another powerful lesson: the art of making people like you. One of Carnegie's most famous principles is to smile. It sounds obvious, but a genuine smile can disarm tension and signal warmth. He shares the story of a woman who worked as a receptionist at a busy office. She wasn't naturally outgoing, but she decided to greet every visitor with a warm smile and a kind word. Over time, people began seeking her out, not just for business, but for her positivity. Her small act of smiling changed the atmosphere of the office and even led to a promotion. Carnegie reminds us that a smile costs nothing but creates a ripple effect of goodwill. When was the last time you smiled at a stranger or colleague, and what impact did it have? Another way to make people like you is to be a good listener. Carnegie tells of a dinner party where he met a botanist. Knowing little about plants, Carnegie asked the botanist questions and listened intently as the man shared his passion. By the end of the evening, the botanist declared Carnegie a most interesting conversationalist, even though Carnegie had said almost nothing. The lesson: people love to talk about themselves, and when you listen without interrupting or steering the conversation back to yourself, you make them feel important. Carnegie puts it beautifully: to be interesting, be interested. How often do you truly listen without planning your next response? As our journey through the book continues, Carnegie turns to the art of influencing others without causing resentment. One key principle is to let the other person feel the idea is theirs. He shares the example of a manager who wanted his team to adopt a new process. Instead of presenting it as his own plan, he asked his team for suggestions on improving workflow. When they proposed ideas that aligned with his vision, he praised their creativity and implemented the plan. The team embraced it wholeheartedly because they felt ownership. This approach requires humility, but it's incredibly effective. Where in your life could you guide others by letting them take the lead? Another principle is to appeal to nobler motives. Carnegie recounts the story of a landlord who needed a tenant to pay overdue rent. Instead of threatening eviction, the landlord visited the tenant and said, "I know you're an honorable person who values keeping your word. I'm confident we can work this out." The tenant, moved by this appeal to his integrity, paid the rent promptly. By assuming the best in people, you often inspire them to live up to that standard. How could you appeal to someone's higher values in a challenging situation? As we near the end of our exploration, let's reflect on why these principles work. Carnegie's insights are rooted in a deep understanding of human nature. We all want to feel valued, understood, and respected. By aligning your actions with these desires, you create relationships that are not only stronger, but also more fulfilling. Carnegie's book isn't about winning at all costs. It's about building a life rich with connection and influence through kindness and empathy. So what are the key takeaways from How to Win Friends and Influence People? First, show genuine interest in others by listening and appreciating their efforts. Second, avoid criticism and focus on encouragement to inspire change. Third, appeal to people's interests and values to build trust and influence. Fourth, use simple acts like smiling and listening to make others feel valued. And finally, guide others by letting them take ownership of ideas and appealing to their best selves. These principles, practiced consistently, can transform how you connect with the world. As we close this journey, consider this. What small step could you take today to apply one of Carnegie's lessons? Maybe it's smiling at a colleague, listening more deeply to a friend, or showing appreciation to someone who least expects it. The beauty of this book is that its wisdom is within everyone's reach. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more insights to help you grow and thrive. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.